What up, world? I be Mr. Blackamo Style, Rochester, New York. And tonight I'm going to hit you with episode 2 of Welfare versus Fathers. See, I was blessed enough, lucky enough, to have not just a father, but a father that wasn't a sucker. He did whatever he had to do and whatever applied to that. But what I want y'all to pay attention to is how the welfare system had a revised vision of Willie Lynch, keeping the fathers out the household, keeping them divided. So when we talk about brothers from the streets, some can be curious to why they act this way. But the truth be told, it was a reaction to their environment, and they were products of their environment. Now, from the ones that's on this or from this environment, this is a mirror that I'm putting up for you to see yourself. When somebody put a mirror in front of a person, they have something on their chin. What are they going to do? They're going to wipe it off. Only a fool will leave it sitting there. That just mean they're filthy. So this mirror is designed to be put up so you can see the reflection of yourself. And in seeing the reflection of yourself, be the change that you want to see. Wipe it off. Break the chain. So I just want to take you in a travel through episode 2 on how the system did it to us and how our mentalities do it to us.
They ain't gonna give but a handful of crumbs to a mother. What do you think the young teenager gonna do? Why do you think that's down here on Huff? Because when it gets dark, they have to go out here and survive.
This is survival and escape in Huff. Music, movement, and this moment. But in the morning, no job that will pay a living wage.
Yeah, I can't front. First of all, that guy that's dancing, I envision that's me in the club. But on a serious note, one of the things I can say about us is we always find a reason to celebrate and have a good time, no matter what ish is shoved on the plate, no matter what struggle is served on the plate. We always find a way to have a good time. But it evolves into something else too. But we'll talk about that later.
And it begins again. Brenda is 19, unmarried, and she has just had a baby. She's learning to care for him on her own. She's trying to get a job to support him, and she lives with her aunt, who has 5 children of her own. Money was the reason she decided not to marry Kenneth, the father of her child.
I mean, I would have married him, you know, for while I was carrying the baby, but he had no job and couldn't support us and since we getting married.
Okay, so I have a problem with that. So Kenneth wasn't good enough to get married, but he was good enough to have a baby with. Now, this is from 1967, but this is an example of the mentalities, though. The examples with the mentalities. He wasn't good enough to marry, but he was good enough to bring a life into this world. See, that's the game right there. That's the game right there.
When no sense in getting married, so I said, wait. I plan on marrying him next year, no sooner than next year. Have to give him time to work first. I mean, what's the sense of marrying somebody if he can't support you? That's his job to support you and the baby, not my job to support him and the baby.
That's my point. It's not her job to support him and the baby when she's getting supported by public assistance. And this is not like a woman bashing, though. This is how the welfare system has influenced the woman's mind state to feeling like she's the alpha. Because the system is taking care of her, she's the alpha, which causes a collide of the alphas. Listen to her. Listen to her. And this is 1967. Listen to her. He's not good enough to marry, but he's good enough to have a baby with. Meaning, bring a life into this world and plant a seed into this world and watch that seed grow into life and evolve into whatever they're trained to evolve into. So in her mind, he's not good enough to marry, but he's good enough to bring another baby into life, in the world. And the only reason why that's okay is because the government is there to clean up the mess, bring forth the alpha woman. So you don't think she is an alpha woman? She literally said, he's not good enough to marry because he can't afford us, but he's good enough to have a baby with. Think about that. Mentality. The mentality that we need to change. It's a mentality. We need to break that chain. Because today, there's a lot of women who think that he's good enough to have a baby with, but he's not good enough to marry.
So after he started working, you know, work more than he been working. Then
Now, my question is this. When she say work more than he's been working, is he just a lazy dude? A dude who get up, have a job every other week? Or just like he making what they only allow him to make as an uneducated man in the United States of America at that time? Because if you were uneducated, you're going to get the bottom of the barrel jobs. They're not going to pay well, but they're very important to have in regards to whatever they had going on. So that's a tricky situation right there. Because I don't know his financial situation. I don't know like what he was making versus what she expect him to make. I don't know all that. I know that she probably thinking because he can't pay the rent, he's not worthy. Because the government paid the rent and they were worthy.
Now married, and I think he's able to take care of two.
Not really live, most of them are just surviving.
Welfare departments claim that they want to encourage marriage and thus get women off the welfare rolls. But the investigation of a woman's eligibility for ADC discourages the beginning of any relationship with a man and marriage.
Well, if he's someone who is sincerely interested in you, you would like perhaps to invite him to dinner, you would like to, maybe he would like to spend the day with you. And if this happens, and you have a neighbor who particularly don't care for you, then the welfare department will hear about it, and then they suppose that this man is living there, or that you are supporting him out of your funds, you're feeding him with your funds, or if you claim you're not feeding him out of your funds, then their answer will be, then he's giving you money.
And she said, oh, you can't have a boyfriend. We don't allow that. And I wanted to know why. And she said, because it doesn't look right, with the kids. And so I said, I still don't see where they have anything to do with me with a boyfriend. And she said, well, you'll have to get rid of him. You have to make plans to marry him. And I told her I wasn't getting married. I wasn't ready for it. I had just got out of one, and I said, now look, you're going to tell me, here I am, 37 years old at that time, and I've been married, got 5 kids here in the home, and had been married to this one man for 16 years, and you're going to tell me I can't have a boyfriend? And so she said, well, we doesn't allow the ADC mothers with boyfriend. And I couldn't understand that. So she left. When she left, well, then she come back to tell me that my case was denied. This is what happened. She come back to tell me that they had denied me, that I could not get on the aid.
If a man marries you, that he should, take on the initiative of supporting your family. And, to tell a man that makes, $125, $135 a week, that he should accept me and 9 kids and support us is crazy. Because, realistically, I would feel that if I married a man in this position, that, it wouldn't take but maybe 6 months. If it took that long, he would begin to resent my kids. He would hate me, he would beat me, and he'd scream at the kids. He'd start beating the kids out of frustration.
Okay, so that's what I mean. You hear the mentality. She assumed that that's how a man would be because the system has designed her mind and structured her mind to be that way. And that means that if she had the social service thing going on and she still respected her man, he probably would enjoy that situation and she would too, because they'll find a way to get around the system. But because of the circumstances and situations she may be in, she may have some form of disrespect towards that man, where he might be frustrated after 6 months and beat her ass and beat the kids' ass and all that. How does she make that man feel through that situation is the most important. Not what they going through.
And, maybe it wouldn't be because he didn't love me and the kids, but because he was, being deprived of, just having, a pair of shoes on his feet.
They still aren't fond of their father. My daughter, she doesn't care for him, but I try to teach her that after all, that still is her father. He takes him nowhere. He doesn't come to see him. He doesn't support him.
All right, guys. I just wanted to give y'all another brief synopsis, episode 2 of Welfare versus Fathers. But I'm hoping as we go on through this journey, I only make these these segments 5 or 6 minutes because I'm not quite sure where the attention span is with people. But if you have a thick attention span, I can make these things a little longer, but if you don't, I keep it at 5 or 6 minutes, and you know what I'm saying? Allow you to kind of absorb if I'm dropping jewels on you or not, because that's what it really is about. Each one teach one, dropping jewels on each other. So, thank you again by getting through another episode of The Reality of It Is. I appreciate you.
Doesn't support him.